That's a common issue for many companies all over the world. But when it comes to large enterprises, it becomes even more complicated.
What questions can the business side answer themselves to better understand this point before they start the implementation?
It leads to wasted resources and on features that no longer brings value to the end users and customers.
Welcome back to the Pro Salesforce podcast. I'm your host Sergii, a Salesforce Consultant here at Synebo. Today, we're talking about a topic that is crucial for business leaders and decision makers: Salesforce implementation in large companies. We are shifting the focus from technology to the processes, strategies, and management practices that truly drive success. Joining me is Viktoriia, a project manager here at Synebo, who's worked on many large-scale implementations. Hi, Viktoriia. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, guys.
Before we dive into today's discussion, could you share a bit about your experience with Salesforce?
Sure. My name is Viktoriia, and I have been working with Synebo as a project manager for 2 years. Actually, this was when my journey with Salesforce began. And almost immediately, I joined a large client project with our team. To be honest, my start in the Salesforce felt like being thrown into a volcano because the project was already ongoing and the processes were chaotic and unstructured. However, this challenge became a great opportunity for growth, and over the time, we completely reorganized the processes and expanded from a team of 2 people to the full team of 10 specialists. This experience has given me valuable insights into managing Salesforce projects in complex environments.
Thanks for sharing your background, and now let's jump into today's topic. When implementing Salesforce in large companies, it's not just about the tool itself. It's about how well it fits into the organization's goals and processes. So, why is aligning Salesforce with this goal so important instead of expecting it to meet every need right out of the box?
So, like a lot of time, clients don't really understand what they need. And to be honest, that's a common issue for many companies all over the world. But when it comes to large enterprises, it becomes even more complicated. This creates a complex ecosystem because company offers a wide range of services to end users and has many departments that need to collaborate with each other, effectively collaborate. Before customizing Salesforce, it's super important for a company to understand their internal workflows and processes.
Yeah, it's a great point, and that brings us to another crucial aspect of successful implementation. Before diving into the customization, companies need to have a clear understanding of their internal workflows and requirements. So, why is it so important for organization to map out these workflows before customizing Salesforce to their needs? And how does this preparation impact the success of the implementation?
Well, like understanding workflows and business processes is crucial because they form the foundation for deciding uh, what improvements can be made to enhance operations, attract more users or potential clients, and also create a user-friendly interface. Also, it's very important for businesses to stay flexible during the implementation, adapting to changes and continuously analyzing workflows and processes all the time. Unfortunately, in large companies, we have, especially in these ones where I'm working, we have a bureaucracy, and it's really difficult to implement each change. And it also sometimes it leads to wasted resources and on features that no longer brings value to the end users and customers. However, if business takes time before preparation and try to understand their processes and workflows, they can successfully implement solutions that deliver real benefits to their companies.
What questions can the business side answer themselves to better understand this point before they start the implementation?
Oh, there can be a lot of questions, and that related to different spheres and different departments. But I think that main questions should be like, for example, which processes could be optimized or automated to improve efficiency. Also, what specific business goals company wants to achieve with the Salesforce features, and also what are the key success metrics they will use to measure this impact of the implementation on their end users and customers. Also, there can be a lot of others questions that should be discussed internally with the development team, with the business analysts, and also with the end users and customers that should be raised before implementation stage.
Okay. Um, One of the biggest challenges during the Salesforce implementation is dealing with unclear and undefined business processes. So, what issues do companies face when their processes are not well defined? And how can this impact the overall implementation?
Oh, there are a lot of like the first one, and I guess the main one is like no documentation in the company. I think this is the pain point of each company are related to implementation in any of the points, because many processes aren't documented and or just are partially documented. So, and in many cases, only about 30% of the functionality on production side is covered by documentation, like user guides or process flows. And for example, new employee joins this company and they have no clue how things work. And as a development team, we often have to spend a lot of time for researches and investigations to figure out what they need and what should be implemented by our team. Sometimes we should research the implementation that was developed 5 years ago, and we should document it like from very beginning.
Oh yeah, it's it's a really common issue, and I faced it a lot myself. And like from our side, we're trying to document at least everything that was implemented by us, or even like slightly improved by us. When we're trying to figure out the process, we're trying to at least like when project is done, when trying to leave the client with more documentation than before we started. What are the next issues?
So I guess the next one would be unrealistic expectations from Salesforce. Sometimes business asks about the features that like are mad and just aren't possible to implement in Salesforce as they imagine. I heard the situation when business required to uh, make the same as Excel in the Salesforce dashboard. So it's like it's insane. Salesforce is powerful, but it has its limitations as an out of the box platform. For example, businesses often want to automate everything down to the tiniest detail, but they don't realize that over customization can make the system harder to maintain and less efficient. And it can be even harder to resolve in the future than their initial business requests.
Yeah, that makes sense. And overcomplicating things can really backfire. What are another common challenges?
I think lack of communication between departments. In large companies, good communication between departments is crucial when developing new features. Sometimes there can be situations that like one department want to implement one feature that will break processes in other department. And we had such situations, and that in the future, like later, it requires to change this functionality and also to revert the changes that we have made already. And it goes to wasted cost and also wasted budget and also wasted resources.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot too, and it's really so important to get everyone on the same page. And like from podcast to podcast, we're talking about it. Communication is the key. Communication between all the departments, all stakeholders, development team. It's really crucial. and one of the most important points, I think, during the implementation.
Agree.
What else should we watch out for?
Also, I think it's undefined business processes. I have mentioned this before, but I think that it's also very important. Sometimes even the business itself doesn't fully understand its workflows and processes. Different departments might have conflicting ideas about how processes should work. In these cases, implementing Salesforce turns into solving deeper organizational problems that go beyond the platform. And also, the next issue that I wanted to highlight, it's wrong priorities, because business often prioritize implementing features that often sounds trendy, but don't really bring value for their end users and customers. Also, we can deeply dive into this discussion and highlight other issues, because I think in large companies we can have many of them. But I think these ones that I have highlighted are the important ones.
All right. Given the challenges businesses face with undocumented or poorly documented processes, what practical steps can companies take to ensure their workflows are well documented and maintained over time?
I think to resolve these issues, companies can adopt the following practical steps. And the first one is to establish a centralized documentation hub. In our company, it is Confluence, and I think it is the best solution for large enterprises, where you can have all related documentation, and actually you can check the history of each page. You can share accesses to the space, and also you can review these pages team by team. The next one is to define ownership and accountability. There should be accountable person that is responsible for reviewing the documentation and also updating it. I guess it should be from the business side, because especially the person who uh, works in a company for a long period of time and knows processes and workflows from each perspective. The next one is to incorporate documentation into workflow. It should be one of the steps in SLDC. And for example, you can create a separate user story in a backlog and include it into the sprint. Um, like, for example, to create a documentation for that or this user story. And then the last one, I guess, is regular reviews and updates. You can schedule a periodic reviews with the business side and also with other teams that implement Salesforce in large enterprises. And also you can share the updates and discuss any bottlenecks that are with the documentation.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Those points can really solve the issues with the poor documentation. And now let's talk a little bit about the expectations. Many people assume Salesforce is a one size fits all solution, but that's not always the case. Um, for example, it may not fully address specific needs like running a complex e-commerce platform without additional tools. So, what's the best way for companies to see realistic expectation about what Salesforce can and can't do?
Yeah, with the e-commerce platform, it's a great example. We had the same situation, and um, we should like to redo all the e-commerce platform to another platform. But I think that companies should engage both their internal teams and also Salesforce consultants early on the initiation stage, even before project starts, because they should determine what can be achieved with the platform's out of the box features, and where customizations of third party integrations may be necessary, because this is also very important part. Also, there can be conducted discovery workshops, mapping workflows, and reviewing Salesforce capabilities against business requirements. This can help avoid over customization and ensure a more realistic view of the platform's potential. Yeah, I think this is the main point.
Thank you. Now let's move on and let's talk about the contract models with service providers and their impact. Many companies struggle to choose the right approach, not realizing how much it can affect timelines, budgets, and the overall success. So, how do different contract models, like fixed price versus time and materials, impact Salesforce projects?
Oh, I like this question. Actually, I have done a lot of researches and presentations for the business side to show disadvantages and advantages of different types of contracts. And actually, many businesses doesn't realize how much the contract type between the development team and the company impacts the development process in general. With a fixed price contract, companies often expect flexibility and speed, but unfortunately, this approach can lead to negative outcomes. Fixed price contracts require a detailed scope, and this makes it difficult to accommodate changes and also, especially in dynamic Salesforce projects. This often results in delays, increased costs for scope changes, and even compromised quality because team wants to finish ASAP, and that goes to really negative results. In contrast, for example, time and material contracts offer much more flexibility, and you can work with agile methodology using using time and material contract. Actually, they allow teams to adjust priorities, accommodate requirements, and also ensure more adaptive approach that better fits Salesforce development process. And I think that leads smoother process and more successful outcomes.
Could you share some real world examples of these models in action? And like what advantages of transitioning to more flexible agreements, especially in complex projects?
I have thousands of such examples, but the recent one, um, highlights the challenges of a fixed price model. Exactly. So we had a situation when client requested a quick implementation for yesterday, as it is usually, and he requires a deployment of a feature to production right away. However, during UAT, it is a testing on pre-production environment. Business side realized that they need additional change to the initial requirements because they realized that this will improve their process. And since we were working under a fixed price contract with this department, this change meant extra hours for development effort and also for other roles additionally. Um, to be honest, we spent an additional 2 weeks discussing the new requirements, preparing solution design, preparing cost estimation, and only after that, once we approved it, we started the implementation phase of this change. Um, if we worked under a time and material contract, the process would have been much smoother. We could create a user story, like to have a small meeting with the client to discuss the requirements, and right after that, we can start the implementation phase. And actually, that will take additional half a day, for example. The same actually applies to the planning phase, which we have during SLDC. To begin implementation under a fixed price contract, we definitely should have detailed requirements and tons of backlog refinement meetings, discussions with the business side to be able to provide really detailed and precise cost estimation and effort estimation. That means that, and you know that during fixed price contract, the team takes risks on its side, not business. Like, for example, if there are any difficulties during deployment process or any risks during implementation, even because if we are working with a old code legacy, you may need to refactor code, and also you may have different bottlenecks and conflicts during implementation or deployment. So that means the team should protect itself, and that means that we need to have really precise cost estimation, and without it, we can't start the implementation phase. So that means that process can't be flexible and efficient. If we change our processes to time and material model in complex projects, it allows for quicker adjustments. Also, it reduces this bureaucracy. It improves collaboration between teams and clients, and it ensures that business needs are addressed promptly, and it leads to faster delivery and high quality end product.
So we can agree that if you want to go with the fixed price, you have to make sure that you have detailed requirements and you cover all the cases, all the points, all the different scenarios. Otherwise, you should go with the time and materials because this will give you more flexibility and so on.
Yeah, I guess that fixed price was very common contract when projects were based on waterfall methodology, not like agile. And actually, I think this contract should pass away to other projects, not such flexible as we have with the Salesforce.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And now let's talk about another important point. It's handling integrations. Integrations often add layers of complexity of Salesforce projects, not just on the technical side, but in terms of additional responsibilities and management. For example, managing access to the integrated system, ensuring that resources like developers or admins are familiar with these platforms, or even coordinating with client-side specialists. For example, marketing teams who worked with HubSpot integration. So, how do integrations affect the way teams need to operate?
Oh, really great question, because you know that if companies work with the Salesforce functionality and with the Salesforce clouds, usually to do any integration, they should have a separate MuleSoft team, which actually should have a basic knowledge about the Salesforce and about the MuleSoft part. And I think that because of that, integrations introduce significant complexity into Salesforce projects, especially in large companies, where are multiple teams that working on various features. We have the same on our project, and one major challenge is the lack of coordination between teams. And that leads to the situations where different teams unknowingly develop overlapping functionality and or can override each other's work in pre-production. In this case, we should revert our changes and deploy them one more time. And that leads again to wasting the time, and it's not efficient. So another challenge is navigating bureaucratic hurdles when integrating with external systems. Um, for example, sometimes it's difficult to gain any access or receiving necessary information. Like one of my team member told me that he waited 2 weeks to get access to their to one of the systems, and then he just could start their research. So I think it's very frustrating, and that should be resolved. I think to resolve this, there is a crucial role of management in this bottleneck. Because effective communication across teams and systems helps prevent duplication of work and ensures smooth communication, and also accelerates problem resolution. Um, Additionally, regular cross-team meetings can avoid such situations and can be very helpful, especially during large deployments to pre-production or to production environment. And I think it can minimize the risks of integration issues, and it can ultimately improve project outcomes.
Yeah, I also have one example when I had a client, and we at Synebo were responsible only for the Salesforce, but their users always reached us in order to get an access to some third parties, to BI tools, and so on. And every time we had to explain them that we are responsible only for Salesforce. You need to reach your IT department, not our company. Like, yeah, it's fun, but when it happens like 10 times per week, it's like it's super strange. Just I think one simple communication between the company can solve this issue when you know which department responsible for what, and especially if you have some case system within the Salesforce, it can solve all these issues. Let's move on with the next topic. I want to talk about the change management and user adoption. Because adopting Salesforce isn't just about implementing a system, it's about helping people to embrace change. So, how can training programs, aligning workflows to their needs, and rolling out changes in smaller, manageable steps help build confidence and ensure adoption? Like, what is the secret to making end users not just ready but also excited to use Salesforce?
Mhm. Actually, I think I'm more than sure that that is a responsibility of the business to prepare presentations, workshops, and training sessions for their end users and customers. I don't think that it is the responsibility of the team, especially in large companies uh, in which we are working, for example. Because business side should understand what their end users want to know, and what changes have been introduced. It's crucial to demonstrate the improvements and the benefits they bring to both sides. Our responsibility here is only to provide documentation for the business side, and also knowledge transfer to support teams. Because we have a separate support team which is working on bugs on production side. We are not working on resolution of such bugs. So that is our responsibility to make sure that support team knows what to do in case if such bugs is was done because of our implementation.
All right, now let's wrap everything up. What advice could you give to enterprise clients to improve their Salesforce implementation?
Well, from the client side, I think a few key factors are crucial for successful Salesforce implementations. The first one is to trust to the development team. I know that sometimes it can be difficult, especially in the bureaucratic large enterprises. But actually, having confidence in your technical team leads to smoother collaboration and leads to better results and more efficiency. The next one is to not to be afraid of changes. because you should be flexible and you should adjust workflows and processes to improve overall efficiency. World is changing every day, and we should be adaptable with like in this world. And I think adaptability is a key to getting the most out of Salesforce features. Also, collaboration on requirements. This is the next point, and regularly discussions with the consultants, with the business analysts, and internally in the team, with the development team, to ensure that requirements are aligned with the Salesforce best practices and that you are delivering the most value to end users. And the last one, it's a deep understanding of business processes. I have mentioned this a few times, and I think that a knowledge of internal processes helps define clear and precise requirements, making the implementation more effective for end users, for customers, and also for the development team.
Thank you for your valuable tips, and I also have several. Um, I would say that it's really important to invest in your internal champions. I mean, you need to identify and empower a group of team members who are really enthusiastic about Salesforce and new changes, and they can provide you with valuable feedback or even participate in the user acceptance testing. It can be really helpful, and like I personally faced it a lot when there is like some, let's call them, super user on the client side, then can help you and explain some business processes to you and help the company to adapt Salesforce. And another one would be you have to treat integrations as a collaborative project. I mean, like when you're integrating tools, you should involve not just the technical team, but also the business stakeholders who will use this integration. And I already mentioned the marketing example. So when you're working on some marketing integration, the marketing team should be involved from the very beginning. Ensure that the integration aligns with the business needs, and in this case, it will work properly.
Definitely.
Thank you, Victoria, for joining us today. And of course, a huge thanks to all our listeners for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. And if you found value in today's episode, don't forget to like it, subscribe, and stay tuned for more insightful discussions. We'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.